creating your own packaging, like a cute little gift box like this, is not only fun, but pretty easy. However, a lot of crafters struggle to make the bottom of their box match or nicely fit into the lid of their box. I have a super simple tip for you that anybody can do, and it takes you 5 seconds, even less. So I'm going to show you step by step how to make this specific box with the Ornamental Christmas Bundle by Stampin' Up! And the Modern Christmas Designer Series paper and a few of the embellishments as well. So without further ado, let me show you how you can guarantee that your box and your lid fit together. I'm going to put this aside. I already mounted my stamp. We're just going to be using the Be Jolly sentiment. And do you want to know what's inside the box? Let me show you. That actually, the contents determined the size of my box. And I will show you here in a second how you can actually get your measurements for whatever you want to package. Okay, so even though I have a belly band on, my lid fits nicely on here. And my lid, as you can see, is a little bit shorter than the bottom of the box. And ta-da! The Modern Christmas Suite has these very beautiful golden hoops, and they're pretty large actually. So I decided to use some elements of the suite and make this ornament. I'm sure you've seen plenty of these around at this point. So I know I want to gift this, so I made my packaging for that. And as you can see here now, if I place that in here, I don't know, you might be able to see. My lid does not squish the bottom of my box or the other way around. And really, it's so simple. If you've never heard of it, you're gonna probably slap your forehead. Why have I never thought about it? And if you're an experienced crafter, you might actually know this. Okay, so let me show you the bits and pieces that we need. I'm gonna put the ornament aside. That might be a little bit too distracting. Leave me a comment below the video if you want me to show you how to make that ornament. Okay, so the bits and pieces that we need. I have some basic black cardstock, and I hope that's going to show well enough here on camera. And this is cut to 5¼ by 5¼ because the ornament is round, so I needed a square box. I might do a version of this for a rectangular shape box if you want me to. Again, leave me a comment what you would like to see. And so again, I measured this for my ornament. And my ornament, to fit nicely in there, the middle of my box is 3¾ and I decided to make it 3/4 in height. So I'm adding my 3/4 and 3/4 and 3¾ in the middle, and that gives me a piece of 5¼ Okay, so now here is the very important step if you want to make your lid fit your square bottom. Okay, so I'm going to bring in my trimmer here, and I'll try and make so you can see. Okay, so let me just double check that I actually cut it to 5¼ Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually line it up here just 1/16 of an inch less. Okay, that's what we're going to trim off. So just 1/16 of an inch, and that is, trust me, going to make all the difference. So you cut one side, trim that off, and then you're going to turn it clockwise, and you're going to do the same thing. So 1/16 of an inch smaller. Okay, so you do that on two sides, and that's really all you need to do, because that little section right there is going to make all the difference. Okay, so now, like I said, my box is 3/4 of an inch high, or deep. So I'm going to score at 3/4 of an inch all around. So I'm just going to use my trimmer. That's the nice thing about it, that I can cut and score on the same tool, which saves me time. Shout out to all my busy crafters out there. And side number 3. And side number 4. So it might be a little bit tricky to see, but I don't know if you, maybe like this, you can kind of see. So I scored it on all 4 sides at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so even though I cut off that 16th inch on 2 sides, I didn't change my scoring. Okay, so that's important. And let's do our lid first. Well, not first, next. So I can fully put that tool away. Now I wanted my my lid to be a little bit shorter. I don't know if you can see here. So even though my box is 3/4 of an inch deep, I wanted my lid not to go all the way in because then it's just easier to open the box. So I made it 1/2 an inch. Okay, so that also means that our piece for the lid is going to be a little bit smaller. Right now you might be thinking, oh, how's this gonna work out? But it will, trust me. So I measured like 1/2 an inch, and then again, we're keeping the inside measurement of 3 3/4 for our lid, and then another 1/2 inch, which leaves us with 4 3/4. Excuse me. So, and now, since our lid is 1/2 an inch, you were just going to score it at 1/2 an inch all the way around. So, one side. Second side. Third side. And the last one, number 4. Okay, so now both our pieces are scored. Again, if you wanted to make it like the same depth as your bottom, then it would have been 3/4 of an inch, but then also your piece would have been the full 5 1/4. Okay, I hope that made sense. Now all we need to do is do a few simple snips. So I'm going to bring in my scissors. And sometimes it helps if you want to do that. I actually prefer to do mine first. So since it's a square box, it doesn't really matter where you start. But we're going to cut into a score line here, and then I'm going to angle this. Okay, so, and I know some people like to angle this as well, but I prefer to have a flush edge. I'll show you in a second when we assemble it. I'll put the adhesive in there. Okay, so as you can see, I have both ends. Let me show you here. Can you see, like, it's kind of tricky with that dark background and the black cardstock, but it just looks so elegant, the suite with the black, white, and gold. By the way, I shared a card tutorial that is quick and easy with this product suite. I will link that right up here, but also at the end of the video. So you can finish this one first if you want to. Okay, so I have my 4 adhesive tabs there. Oh, shoot. All right, well, we'll have to we'll have to live with that. I angled the wrong piece there. Okay, so, but I don't think it's going to show that much. Okay, so there you go. I'll just leave this in. Mistakes happen when you're crafting, right? So it's a handmade box. Okay, and then we'll just do the same thing on all 4 corners. Now I'm going to pay attention, and I'm not going to do that mistake again. So we want to angle our adhesive flaps. Okay, so just cut up to the score line there. Oh, might have to trim that out a little bit, because sometimes your score line just kind of creates a little bit of overlap. So all right, I think I cut that little piece. Is not coming off. Okay, now let me just take care of this and get all this confetti out of the way. Okay, now you can go in with your fingers. I would recommend a bone folder and just go all around. Make sure you have nice, crisp score lines. And one more side. Okay, well, I should still angle this to make it fit. So there's my little mistake. I think that was that side. Yeah. Okay. And then we're going to do the same with the lid. You might want to be a little bit more careful now with the designer series paper, since it is much thinner than your cardstock. And especially when it has gold foil, sometimes it's gonna break the top surface of your designer series paper. So just always be gentle scoring your designer series paper and then folding. Okay, and now all we're going to do is bring in a silicone sheet with lots of glitter speckles on there. And I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal. If you want, you can use multi-purpose liquid glue just to kind of keep it a little bit quicker on the video. Now I'm just going to put some adhesive on there. So maybe, let's see here. I'm going to do it like this. That's going to be a little bit easier because I want to try and get as close as I can to the edge. So I'm just going to work my way around and put adhesive on all 4 sides. One more. So you can use, like I said, liquid glue. You can use Stampin' Seal Plus. I wouldn't necessarily go with tear and tape. It depends on how much pressure you're going to put onto your project. Like how much pull is going to be on this box. I mean, that's oh, there we go. That was my weird end. So I have to try and create a nicer angle there. So I'll have to go in and fix that later. Okay, so we're just going to bring in our adhesive flaps. And one last side. Okay, so there's our bottom. It usually tends to bulge out a little bit to the side, so I'm just going to give it a little bit of a crease there. So as you can see, I don't know if you can see there, this is my side where I accidentally cut the wrong piece at an angle. All right, and then we're going to do the same thing here with our lid. So just, again, it's designer series paper and there's not a whole lot of pull on this box, so using the regular Stampin' Seal should be fine. Just want to make sure I have adhesive everywhere. Okay, so again, we'll just go around. You want to try and get your angles or your corners there nice and even. So, and that's the advantage of using Stampin' Seal, the regular or multi-purpose liquid glue, because you can wiggle it into place. It's a little bit harder to do that with Stampin' Seal Plus, but it is the best adhesive by far for anything 3D projects or gift packaging that has to withstand a little bit of pull and tear. So, all right, there we go. And now here is the big test to see if my lid goes on there. There you go. And as you can see, I mean, eventually it's going to fall off, but it's not that loose that you feel like it's too big. The thing is, also I worked this with designer series paper, so it is thinner than your cardstock. So, all right, and there we go. There's our box. And now just real quick, we're not going to spend forever on this. Putting our decorations on it. Let me show you how to make this belly band that goes around our box. So I have a piece of basic black cardstock here, and let me show you another little tip. Let me bring in my my mat, just a second. Okay, so you could try and measure to get your belly band, you know, like kind of measure and then score. But what I like to do is I just put my belly band piece down on my Stampin' Pierce mat, and I'll try and get it as straight as I can on here. So this piece is 9.5 inches by 1, so you get quite a lot out of one sheet. And then I'm just using my bone folder, oops, not inside the box, to wrap this around. I'm not even going to do that for the second one because the second one is going to come around on its own. Okay, and then we'll just do the other side, so try and keep it in place. So the reason I'm using this Stampin' Pierce mat is just so I have a little bit of give. All right, and then I'm just going to bring that around. So now don't make your belly band too tight because you still want to make it like come off your box. But there's about 1/2 inch of hangover. Hangover? Well, overlap. So I'm going to use again some Stampin' Seal. So just a little bit there. And now I'm going to bring it back around my box. Let's see which way. I kind of let's go. I'm gonna have the mistletoe go this way. I mean, it doesn't matter. I can change that. Okay. So again, don't try to squeeze it too tightly. But we're gonna cover this up. And there we go. So we have our belly band. That just helps our box stay together just a little bit more. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring in some of that beautiful black and gold baker's twine. Let's see if I can get a good bow made here on camera. You know, usually I would trick a little bit with my bows, but that's not going to work for you. Gift packaging. Let's bring in some. Ask my tweezers there for help. So I can get. Oh, that was way too much, but it's okay. I actually have a tip for you in my next video. Hold on, I'm getting ahead of myself. So I can remove my my extra finger there, my tweezers. So that was just to kind of keep it in place. All right, this is way too big of a bow, so we're going to trim that down a little bit. I'm going to pull here. The important part is when you adjust your bows is to keep your finger on the knot. Okay, I'm going to have to bring it down a little bit more. All right, we'll leave it at that. So I'm going to trim this off, and I have a tip for you next time in my next video, how to make use of, I mean, this is, you could try and tie a bow out of this one, but I have another fun tip for you how to use those. Okay, so let's see, let's try and have some even ends. Okay, so that's our bow there. Let's not mess with it anymore. If you wanted to, you could place a little glue dot behind there to make it stick in place. Okay, and then finally, were you hoping for some stamping? Let's do some stamping. It's going to be super quick and easy. I have the second, I want to say the second largest, no, not the second largest, the second smallest of basic white cardstock die cut with circles from the Stylish Shapes dies. So I got my Be Jolly, and I'm going to stamp that right in the middle. And I love circle labels for my sentiments because then it doesn't matter which way I stamp, I can still adjust it. So, all right, and that's all the stamping we did. So we can pop that on there with some dimensionals. And I think I'm going to use the small ones. That's just going to give me 2, 3, one more. Just going to give me the most flexibility. Let's see, we're going to put it right there is our overlap from the belly band. So I'm going to put that right there. I'm going to peel these off. It's going to help when your box is actually filled with something. So, but we'll manage. We're almost done. A lot of times the explaining of things, you know, sharing my tips and tricks with you, that's what makes these videos a little bit longer than I would like them to be, but that's okay. Okay. We still want to have some good time, because that's what crafting is all about. Okay, so I'm just going to try and put that here in the middle, over there, and somewhat straight, please. Anna, if you can manage. So again, it would help if there was actually something in my box. So I'm going to push these down. All right, and then for the final touches, some gems that you may not think about because the suite is all black and white. But we have the strawberry slush and pretty in pink gems. So strawberry slush and a pretty in pink. And then there's also these clear gold ones. And they have such a beautiful speckle to them. Just kind of gold speckle on the inside. So I put one down here. And then I will put two of the smaller ones. One, let's see, over here. So it's just a hint of gold since we already have a lot of gold going on there. All right, so there we go. And that is our final box. So let me know in the comments if you use that little trick there of just cutting off that 1/16 of an inch on two sides for your bottom so it fits perfectly into your lid. If you've done that before, let me know if it was completely new to you and if you would love to see more of those kind of super quick and easy tips. And yeah, if you want to see a really sweet and simple card that is, again, very quick to make with the Modern Suite by Stampin' Up!, then check out this video next.